Post-traumatic stress disorder is an anxiety disorder characterized by exposure to a traumatic event. This can be through experiencing or witnessing death or threatened death, actual or threatened serious injury, or actual or threatened sexual violation. The victim re-experiences this trauma through memories, nightmares, or even flashbacks. The victim clearly avoids anything associated with the trauma. This could be people or places, conversations, activities, objects, or situations. There are also negative alterations in cognitions and mood. This means they might not be able to remember the event just simply because they blocked it out. They believe that they're bad and they distort beliefs about themselves. They blame themselves for the event or the consequences of the event. And they persistently have negative emotions. Sometimes they just completely detach themselves from others and they just lose interest in activities. They just seem depressed. The victim must have this disturbance for at least 1 month for it to be diagnosed as post-traumatic stress disorder. Anything less than that could be acute stress disorder, or it could just be a bad month. About 6.8% of the population has experienced post-traumatic stress disorder in their life. The theories of PTSD. Unlike most other psychological disorders, we do know the cause of PTSD. It's trauma. But whether or not a person develops PTSD is the issue. We need to know who develops it, because a lot of people experience trauma, but not everyone develops this disorder. So why do we develop it? One theory is biological. It's that maybe if certain traits are inherited from your genes, such as traits to be more anxious or stressed or risky, those are the traits that predispose you to be more likely to experience trauma or to be stressed from it. Certain characteristics of the serotonin transporter gene also increase the chance of experiencing more stress after the trauma. The psychological vulnerability theory. This states that early experiences with uncontrollable events might influence who develops PTSD. These are usually after low stress or trauma, because most people who experience high stress or trauma develop PTSD anyway. One factor that affects who might develop PTSD psychologically is family instability. Family instability at an early age teaches us that our world is uncontrollable, and people who experience this are at a higher risk for developing PTSD. There are several different treatments that go along with PTSD. One is psychological. It involves having the patient face the trauma, relive the event, usually by imagination, process the emotions that go along with it, and then develop coping styles to effectively deal with it. Also, some drugs, such as SSRIs, Prozac, usually, have shown to be effective, mainly because they help relieve the anxiety, not because they change the course of the disorder or cure it. 5 veterans from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars were diagnosed with PTSD. Also, veterans account for 20% of all suicides. This is alarmingly high and something that needs to be taken into consideration. One myth involving PTSD is that those who get it just aren't strong enough, and this is why many people don't seek help. This just simply isn't true. While we don't know what causes certain people to develop PTSD and some people not to, we are developing theories, like I stated before. But not being strong enough isn't one of them. There are several different factors that can go into developing PTSD, like I said before, such as experiencing other traumatic events, a history of mental illness, or the severity of the trauma experienced.